Welcome back to another Pokemon What If Wednesday, where every Wednesday morning we go through last week's investing and collecting questions, where your guys' questions will actually be featured in the video, and one person's question will help me make the thumbnail every single week. So please drop your questions down below for a chance to be in next week's video, and if I did comment to you saying great question, I might use this and I didn't, please drop that same question again and put repeat question, it'll get moved to the top. And I'm not saying I'm some guru who just knows everything, but when I'm unsure, I always like to talk it out with a few people. It always helps me make my final decision. And we do have to give a big thanks to our video sponsor real quick, and that is Platinum Protectors. If you guys need cases for any type of collectible, Platinum Protectors have got you covered. They have cases for action figures, comic books, diecast, Funko Pops, trading cards, and video games. And when it comes to trading cards, they got anything you can even think of: Lorcana, One Piece, Japanese Pokemon, English Pokemon, booster bundles, UPCs, sleeves, top loaders. They got it all. They even have one for the Prismatic SPC, and all the cases now are UV and scratch resistant. And then too, if you click my link in the description, you'll get 10% off your first order of $50 or more, so definitely check that out. Then of course, if you're going to grade through PSA for your very first time, you can click my link in the description, use code BEARD25, and you'll receive $25 off your very first submission, which is basically a free graded card. Then also this weekend, I will be in Kansas City at Trading Card Con vending. It's going to be a crazy show. Coop and Beard Dad are going to be there. And I'm also bringing every single life-size statue that I own. So definitely swing by if you guys are in the area. All right, first question. This is from @RealShacky. Hey, Beard. My question is, do you think in a few years from now we can see fake cards which look exactly like original ones? Same with fake Pokemon cases like one-to-one labels and things like that. Sorry for my English and love from Poland. So that is definitely possible. You got to think, technology is advancing so fast, and we're literally dealing with cardboard here. I mean, a booster box case is literally just a brown cardboard box with 2 stickers slapped on it. That's not impossible to fake. And I can almost guarantee you right now, there's people out there with a fake booster box case in their collection, or fake booster boxes or ETBs or cards. Now the cards, booster boxes, and like the actual products, much tougher to fake than an actual booster box case. But still, it happens all the time. I think Jarchomp even bought an Evolving Skies booster box. When you're vending and you're busy, stuff can definitely slip by if you're not really paying attention and you just kind of assume everything is real. That's why I kind of just assume everything is fake, because I'm also super, super paranoid and I'm very picky. But there are so many ways around, buying fake stuff. Just buy from legit sellers. You never have to worry about getting a fake booster box from the Pokemon Center website. Obviously easier said than done. Or, your favorite Pokemon YouTuber who sells boxes, or whoever it is, you can trust them and they have a reputation to withhold because they are a YouTuber, so they don't want to sell fake stuff. And then also you have to think, if fakes get so bad, which, like I said, is definitely possible, Pokemon, I think, will do something. They'll have to come up with something to where you do not have to worry about buying fake stuff or fake cards or a way to scan stuff or whatever it is. They're going to have to come up with something if it gets really, really bad. Another thing you could do too is buy graded cards. At least they're getting authenticated and stuff from a legit place. Now, be careful, because there's a ton of fake cards out there also. There's fake slabs constantly. You can usually spot them, but still, I've seen some really good fake slabs. Probably better fake slabs than I've actually seen of like fake Pokemon cards. But yeah, that is actually really scary to think about, to where if they could print a card to where it is an exact one of one, 2 Bubble Mews right there, and no one on the planet could tell the difference of which one is real or fake, that is actually pretty scary. But like I said, if that does start happening and, people eventually start noticing, or, something gets leaked of someone, have a whole printing facility and they're making all these fake cards, I think Pokemon will try to step in and do something. I hope. But yeah, super good question. Let me know down below what you guys think. And we got to do the question of the day. If we had to get rid of one of these Pokemon, which Pokemon are you getting rid of? Electabuzz or Magmar? Let me know down below. But all right, next question. This one is from TJ Bartlemus. Happy Wednesday, Beard. Quick question. What are your thoughts on pre-release staff promos? I feel like these get overlooked whenever discussions about staff promos are brought up. These are just as rare, if not more so, than Pokemon Center promo cards, as those can always be reprinted during a set's life cycle. So the only thing that I think is really hurting like the staff cards and the pre-release cards is the art. I mean, we're just getting these half arts compared to a Pokemon Center promo, which is an actual illustration rare. That's why I literally love this Altaria XY staff promo. One of the few times we are actually getting the beautiful art with the staff. And of course, some of these cards that aren't, full arts, the arts are super nice. It's just, a little underwhelming, especially paying some of these prices. But these cards are definitely kind of niche, and they don't always go up super quick, and they can take forever to sell. You just got to really be careful on which staff cards you buy, because if it's not a super popular Pokemon, they can literally sit there for years and years and years and never go up in price. But, if you pick a lot more of the popular ones, especially when they're undervalued, not too bad at all. Even the prize pack series cards, a lot of the Scarlet and Violet era stuff is dirt cheap compared to the Sword and Shield stuff, where some of those cards are hundreds and hundreds of dollars. And we got all the evolutions in prize pack series, and they're dirt cheap. But yeah, I'm actually a big fan of staff cards. I just wish we could get some illustration rares. I mean, just imagine if we did get staff illustration rares. I think they would go absolutely crazy. All right, next is from Yoki Monable. The first half of this is his answer to my question of the day, whether you get rid of Bulbasaur or Squirtle. And he said, I would rather sacrifice myself for the betterment of mankind and keep the natural order of Bulbasaur and Squirtle evolution lines, which is hilarious. I've only recently started watching content again, but are you interested in collecting the new Yu-Gi-Oh! Extended art rares? They are dropping the first in the middle of April with Rarity Collection 5. There is no announcement on when serialized cards will be coming to the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG yet. I presume not in this set. So I am actually very excited for these extended cards, but I probably will not collect them if they do not have the serialized cards, because if I'm going to do it, I want the serialized cards, to be honest, because the one thing that does bug me is they're just taking the arts and extending it. It's not like we're getting brand new crazy art. That's my biggest complaint, but I 100% agree. I think these are literally the best looking Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards we've ever gotten. If you guys did not know, I love collecting vintage Yu-Gi-Oh! I basically have the first 6 sets completed in the first edition, and I'm collecting some, of the higher end PSA 10 cards. But I'm all in on the serialized stuff. If we get these arts with our, OG Yu-Gi-Oh! Guys and their serialized cards, I'm definitely going to pick up a few boxes for sure, and I'll probably open some too. I don't want serialized cards for Pokemon because Pokemon doesn't need it, but I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh! Has not gotten love in forever, so I do think they really need some serialized cards to really pop up Yu-Gi-Oh! But I could honestly see Yu-Gi-Oh! Being massive in 2026, especially, like I said, if they're getting the serialized cards and if they're going for a good amount of money and people are chasing them, because I want to chase them also. All right, next is from that Cool Arrow 369. Hello, great content like always. What's your opinion on the TCG market in a macro point of view? A lot of other TCGs have started rising in price significantly, and for collectors like myself who collect other stuff besides Pokemon, it has become exhausting. Financially speaking, multi-TCG collectors have been spread too thin. Buyers and vendors who diversify are feeling it. You think the whole TCG market will reach a tipping point and prices will start falling? So I do think eventually, no idea when, I do think a lot of the stuff will start cooling off. It just can't be hot forever. It can't just go up forever. I mean, even last summer, dead middle of the boom, every single popular modern card dropped in price. I mean, Bubble Me was like $300. So, that can definitely happen a ton. It just really depends on the whole world, the market, everything. If Pokemon gets a new printing facility, it can, really up the numbers. It just really, really depends on everything. And I am a little worried about some of these newer TCGs because, I mean, the way people are talking about them, they're saying it can never go down in price. It's the new biggest thing. People be collecting this for the next 50 years. You really don't have a clue. No one really knows. And that's why I don't really invest in a lot of these other card games. I only invest in stuff that I love. I love Digimon, I love Yu-Gi-Oh!, and I love Pokemon. And I do like Magic the Gathering, but not as much as the other three, because I grew up playing it with my brother, but that was my brother's game, so he likes it a lot more than I do. So I'm not going to jump to Lorcana or Dragon Ball Z or One Piece or anything like that. Even if I can make money, I don't care. I'm not all about money. I literally just like to collect the stuff that I like, and if it goes up in price, that is amazing. But all right, next question is from Ben Egg 2373. Why is this PokeBeard? I keep seeing clips of vendors saying that they do not use collector pricing because it is not actually representative of the market. I am confused because I have yet to find a card or sealed product I own be more than like $1 or $2 off from the TCG player price. Why do you think there continues to be a trend of vendors refusing collector pricing? Maybe I am just biased because collector is very easy to look at. Thanks. Yeah, I actually have noticed this. And if we're talking about modern, it's the exact same. The only time it's not is if it's like a brand new card and it's just selling like crazy on TCG player. And, collector can't keep up because it gets its stuff from TCG player. So obviously TCG player is going to be a little bit more up to date. So like the new Ascended Heroes cards, that stuff is just going so crazy. We're getting new sales constantly, like $100 difference for some of these sales. That you're going to probably want to go right to the source. But for 99% of modern and even mostly mid-era, collector's 100% fine using. And if someone says that they don't, go off collector prices, ask them to look the price up and then show them the exact same price on collector and make them feel stupid. Because I've actually done that a few times myself. And the only other time I don't like to use collector is like for vintage stuff. Because I really need to see the pictures. The amount of times people say, my card that is 100% near mint is lightly played, just to get a cheaper price, drives me nuts. So yeah, when it comes to vintage, everybody's kind of different on the condition, which drives me nuts. And that's where I like to go on eBay sold listings and actually look at all the cards and see what they're selling for. I even had a chick come up to me. I had a e-reader reverse holo and just like a $30, $40 card. She said it was lightly played. I said it was near mint. She said I could buy a lightly played on TCG Player for 20. I had it marked at 40, which is what near mint sells for. And I said, if you can find me a lightly played card, a card with the exact same condition as my card on eBay for $25, I will match the price. And she couldn't even find anything even remotely close to as nice as mine. Next question is from Errol Williams. After the most recent price and turnaround time increase with PSA, I am considering using another grading company. Which of the other companies would you recommend for both investing and collecting? So you got to think there's PSA, Beckett, CGC, and TAG. Those are definitely the big four. Now, in my opinion, I'm still going with PSA because 99.9% of vendors don't buy CGC, they don't buy TAG, and they don't really buy BGS. Some do the BGS black labels and gold 10s, of course. And then, there's a good handful of people now that are starting to get into TAG and some CGC pristine 10s. But honestly, I'm sticking with PSA. I've been using PSA now for 20 years. And I know people now like to act like PSA is just scum and, they're scamming everybody. Just know that there's sketchy stuff going on for every single graded company. CGC graded more fake cards in the matter of 6 months than every graded card company combined in the history of graded cards. BGS. I know some employees that have a lot of black labels. I wonder how they got so many black labels. So there's stuff going on for every single company. Even TAG, it's like $40-something to get one card graded if you want the full report. And then even then, I've seen some TAG 10s that are not perfect. No grading company is perfect, but if you want resale value and you want to be able to sell these cards whenever you want super easily, PSA is the best option. But I do think PSA does need to step up their game. Like, it wouldn't be that hard to give us a little bit more information on our cards. But you got to think too, they also grade more cards than all the other graded card companies combined times 10. If all of a sudden CGC got 1 billion Pokemon cards, they're going to be struggling as well, especially if they're doing all these new systems like the buyback system, to where people were saying they were getting 9s and getting paid for 9s, but the cards were actually 10s. That's a glitch in the system. That's not, the heads up at PSA, putting their fingers together and be like, let's scam, 5 people. And, let's say they got 9s, but they actually got 10s for all these cheaper cards. They're not doing that. It's a bug in their system. They also had a bug in their system where they were selling cards at 50% of market for PSA 10s. So, it's just a new thing, but yeah, no graded card company is perfect, but I do have to admit that PSA is 100% the easiest card to sell and trade or move. The amount of times I see people so disappointed when they go to every single vending table and no one wants their CGC cards or their TAG cards and stuff like that. It's going to take a while, and that's why investing and collecting is two different things. If you're just collecting for yourself, get whatever graded card company you think looks the best and you think is the most legit. But when we're talking about investing, that's where it is just safer to do PSA because literally it's so easy to sell PSA cards. But all right, next question is from Turtler. Hey Beard, I just purchased my first few sealed cases this week for my PC. What are your thoughts on the sets I picked for the long haul? Paldean Fate Sticker Tech 12 count, Insuring Electrode V Box 6 count, Prismatic 6 count Pouch Collection, and Prismatic 4 count Dollar General ETB. All factory sealed. Paid under market by about 10%. I am most interested in your opinion on the Dollar General case and the DG ETBs in general. A lot of people I have talked to thinks the $40 stamp on the box makes it look tacky, but most vintage memorabilia shows the price, like on comics for example. DG will never print them again. Thanks, Beard. So I'm also not the biggest fan of that $40 sticker. I'd much rather have a cleaner one. So I do think there will always be a price, difference between a clean one and one with the sticker. And even if we're talking about vintage, just know that there is a big price difference between a clean one with no sticker and one with a sticker that says $2.99 or whatever it is. There's actually a big price difference. But $40 prismatic ETVs, you could not go wrong because there's always going to be people in the world that want to open them. So if they can get it $10, $15 cheaper every time, they're going to buy the Dollar General ones with that $40 sticker because they don't care because they're going to open it. But otherwise, getting cases is definitely the smartest thing to do. Not the biggest fan of the Electrode V box. It's okay. But Paldean Fate's Prismatic, very, very solid for sure. All right, next is from Daniel Brennan. With Pokemon investing, do you insure your collection? It's something I've been thinking about a lot lately with some of the high-profile robberies and fires, etc. I worry about losing that long-term investment in one quick tragedy versus more traditional investing options. So yes, I do. And I also have a storage unit with a safe where I keep literally all of my rarest things. I also have a problem too where I like to take the cards out of the sleeves and look at them. So that's just like a double protection thing. Keep them away from my hands and not keeping them in my house. Because yeah, I mean, there was a big robbery from a PokeTuber, and then I think Poke&E deleted a bunch of his videos, and he's all paranoid now. But I've been paranoid since I was 20. You know, I've been hiding this stuff for a very long time. I mean, the most expensive thing that I have here is probably my Unified Minds booster box, and that's just because it didn't fit in the tote with the other Unified Minds booster boxes. So that's the only reason. Same thing with the 2 Unified Minds ETBs that I have over there, which are now like $1,200 or something like that. They just didn't fit in the tote. So those are the 3 extra things that I had. Same thing with the Evolving Skies ETBs and the Japanese 151 booster boxes. So, you know, I didn't grab my rarest stuff to throw up on the shelf and display. That stuff is put away. And I do have a lot of binders here, but it's not my rarest things. But all right, sorry for the shorter What If Wednesday. I am just so busy because I'm traveling. And if you guys like this content, please make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell, leave a like and comment. If you guys want to support more, you guys can check out my Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube membership, all that. You guys know what to do. But all right, I want you guys to have a great day, and you guys got to watch my last vending video. My vending videos are getting better and better. Click it right here. Otherwise, we'll see you next time.